Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Credential Chats from AACRAO. We are super excited to be joined by the president of Community College of Denver, Dr. Santos. Thank you so much for being with us this week.
Well, thank you for having me, Noah.
It is just a huge thrill, and you've been traveling. We've had a blizzard coming in Colorado this week, and yet you're here with us, which is really great. And something that I was just super excited when you said yes to this is we've had a theme week after week in these credential chats around the importance of executive buy-in and sponsorship and championship of this work. And so to have a college president join us, want to just start out by asking you what your vision is around the why for just why is this important for your students, and the role of learning records in an ecosystem that's going to better serve students as a result.
Sure, Noah. Thank you again for having me. I think long gone are the days where, a student graduates from high school, goes to college for 4 years, gets a bachelor's degree, gets a job, stays there for 40 years, and gets the watch at retirement, right? Even if that were the case, you can no longer stay at a job for 40 years and not learn something new. Technology is changing way too rapidly. Our economy is changing way too rapidly. So I think we really need to embrace that students aren't studying the way that they did when I was going through school. And people are flowing in and out of education. People are finding themselves in a career and needing to upskill, reskill, and they're accumulating records, and those records are scattered all over the place. They're scattered in between community colleges, universities, credentials that their employer may have given them, state credentials. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to give learners agency over their records. Here in Colorado, even though we had legislation passed 2 years ago, I guess, that we could not hold on to student transcripts because of a balance due. Yet 2 weeks ago, I had a potential student reach out to me, the president, saying, I'm trying to get enrolled, but your people tell me that I can't get enrolled until I get my 3 transcripts from these other colleges, and they won't give them to me because I have a balance due. And I said, well, if they happen to be Colorado schools, they're not allowed to do that. And problem solved, right? But the student had to reach out to the president of the community college in order to get that fixed. So giving learners agency, and I don't remember who wrote the recent blog for AACRAO about this topic of talking about learners instead of students, talking about incremental credentials. Beautifully written, by the way. I think is just incredibly important to our ability to help people move from job to job, have the social and economic mobility that comes along with education a little more painless.
That is just really eloquent and amazing. And I also feel like you're right away going to a place of talking about learning records as things that the learners themselves are actually using. I feel like you as a community college president might be kind of picturing a not too distant future that a lot of leaders are not yet picturing. Do you mind just sharing just a little bit about, and I don't know if you want to share, so your work with LEF or just where you're picturing that, the rest of us can get caught up to your amazing brain on as far as what that actually looks like for them to take advantage of this agency.
Well, Noah, I think sometimes I get way out in front of my skis because my utopia here is, learners are not notoriously good at explaining what skills they learned through their formal education. And you know why? Because as higher education institutions, we're not really good at telling students what they learned through their higher education experience. Their transcripts come out and it says business 1015, intro to business. What does that mean? So, I envision a future in which we have not only digital credentials, but they are in a skills-based format. And we have employers that are posting jobs in the same taxonomy of skills, hopefully, cross our fingers. And we could do what I think LinkedIn tried to do, except that everybody embellishes a little bit on LinkedIn. I will endorse you later. You're a great person. And maybe we could let people be discoverable through skills and have jobs out there, and there could be a matchy going on in the background. I think that that would be an amazing way to connect people who may not be aware of opportunities to jobs out there. I run into students that get a degree in data analytics, and the only job they're looking for is as a data analyst. You and I both know that there are probably 50 different jobs that they are qualified for, but they don't know how to match their skills to the skills that are sought out there in the workplace.
I think that, yeah, anybody who talks with our colleagues in career services, I think that, you know, that's not a revelation that our learners, don't necessarily know. Um, I just got a connection unstable notification, so sorry if I'm getting choppy. I'll go to another question here for you, Dr. Sanchez. Just as a college president, what do leaders like you need to hear from registrars and enrollment managers
So I lost you again. Hopefully people didn't.
from our world?
Yeah, I lost you again, Noah. But what do I need to hear? I need to hear what's going on. Um, you know, the registrar's office and enrollment management really knows what's going on in the institution. When you think about what is happening in a registrar's office, they are the keeper of what academic programs don't we have active on our site. Um, all of the drop for no show and when grades are posted and withdrawals of students, right? All of these things have implications on federal financial aid. I think some presidents make the mistake of thinking that registrars are just record keepers. Registrars are the hub of compliance within your organization in a major way. I mean, you can really get an institution into trouble. And they know they're the boots on the ground that are seeing these curriculum changes come in. They're seeing degree audits being changed. They know who's turning in their grades on time and who's not. I would love to know that. I would love to know who's turning their grades in on time and who's not, because the deans protect people all the time. Our enrollment managers are talking to students and they know, are they hearing that students are coming to us wanting a certain program and we don't offer it? They're hearing from students that aren't enrolling for the next semester. Why aren't they enrolling? Is there something that we can be doing as a college differently? And I recognize as a president that what's happening, boots on the ground, the people facing students, is not necessarily what I'm hearing in the president's office. It's not necessarily what I'm hearing in my executive meetings. There's lots of rainbows and unicorns going on in those meetings, and I need to know what's really going on. And when I want to know what's really going on, I go to the registrar's office and I go to the enrollment management people.
I think that you are definitely probably getting some high fives and fist pumps from registrar audiences who are watching this live or on replay. And I guess a follow-up question to that is, as we hear about the importance of executive sponsorship, what do AACRAO members need to know that college and university presidents need to hear from us in order to be those champions? When we're seeking to be the leaders you need us to be on campus, what do you need to hear from us in order to help you be our champions when it comes to, innovative learning records?
I think it depends on the background of your president and your executive sponsors. I'm very fortunate that I came up both sides of the academic and student services, right? And so I've got a really great understanding of how things that are going on in the registrar's office impact financial aid, impact our accreditation, right? That's not necessarily the case. Normally, a president either comes up the academic ranks or comes up the student services ranks, or neither, right? They could come up the CFO rank and have absolutely no idea. So I think it's really important for our registrars and enrollment managers to figure out what the background is of that president. And then how is it that my knowledge as an employee in this organization can help you understand something that's going to materially move the organization forward. And it may not be originally what it is that you're trying to move forward. Like let's take these digital credentials, right? You may not want to burst into your president's office talking about digital credentials because they might be like, I don't know what you're talking about. First start with those things that, hey, by the way, did you know that we've got this going on with our curriculum process that's creating this mess over here that I know is way too in the weeds for you as president, but I need you to understand that I understand that this is either causing or going to cause a big mess. And I want to partner with you in order to figure out the process to fix it, right? Make friends with your president through what you know and how you can help that president stay out of orange, right? We don't want to go to jail. None of us look good in orange. And B, seriously, none of us look good in orange. How can that president now amplify the work that they're doing through the things that you're noticing in your everyday work?
I appreciate the qualification there because I didn't know if orange was an accreditation there. And I kind of hear you saying that like know who that executive champion is and shape our messaging based on who needs to get the message.
Correct. And what their
uh,
background is, right?
yeah, I know that just makes so much sense. I think that yeah, as we just have a few minutes left here. Another question that I'd love to ask you about is, as a campus leader, a community college president, what keeps you up at night, especially in
Mhm.
regard to learning records and innovative credentials? What keeps you as a president up at night that, people like AACRAO members might be able to do something about? Like, well, what do you want? What do you need? What do you need us to hear from a college president?
Specifically in the enrollment management arena, what keeps me up at night is the thought that people are coming to us wanting to have a better life through higher education, and then they're choosing programs of study that might not lead them there unless they get advanced degrees. I'll throw out certified nursing assistant. I'll throw out psychology. My daughter has a psychology degree, so I'm not picking on psychology. Right. A lot of that is the sphere of influence that you're in. And we find a lot of times that we have these gaps, right? Be that men in nursing, be that women in welding, whatever the case may be, where I don't know that we're doing a great job on the front end of helping people expand their horizons, and they're getting too far into a degree and then realizing this isn't really going to change my life circumstance at all. I'm going to make the same amount of money as I was before I got this degree, except now I spent a bunch of time and money. So that's one of the things that keeps me up at night. Like, how do we do a better job of making sure that people really understand what their financial outcome is going to be for the time and money that they spent, and what are their other options? Trying to think of what else keeps me up at night that's like that would make sense to this group. Besides staying out of jail, of course.
I will ask one follow-up question. You led with the importance of agency, and that you picture a not too distant future of learners using their learning records to connect with opportunity providers. And so do you also similarly see a not too distant future on the career and academic planning side of things, where if we have robust, transparent credentials with, great metadata in them, that it can also inform learners on the front end with those choices, similar that it can help them with access and opportunities, it can help inform them what might be great credentials that will help them access those opportunities.
I do, Noah, but I also, I think that there are already some tools like that out there. Um, and the reason it keeps me up at night is I don't think I'm the only one that's struggling with this, right? I think a lot of people in higher education right now that we're really looking at the credentials that we have and saying, is this really leading students, learners to a better job. Um, I think the other thing that keeps me up at night is staying relevant and making sure that the Community College of Denver is what our community wants and needs. And I think, it goes back to that statement I made about the people in our enrollment management offices hearing from people. I want a degree that's going to lead me to a job in autonomous vehicle manufacturing. I don't know, making that up, right? We don't have an autonomous vehicle manufacturing degree. But at the point in time in which 50, 75, 100 people have come in and said, hey, there's these opportunities in autonomous vehicle manufacturing, we should probably pay attention. Now, mind you, I should, if that's going on, I should probably already know that. But don't make the assumption, right? Don't make the assumption that, just because the president or the provost or the person in charge of workforce should know that we actually do, because sometimes we don't.
Uh, I just can't thank you enough, Dr. DeSantis, for being with us on your Monday afternoon, sharing with us. And I apologize, I went 1 minute over what I promised you your time commitment would be. So just thank you so much for being here with us, and have a great afternoon, everybody.